So today's practice is really me recognizing that I needed to come to the mat today. I was with clients this morning and feeling very grateful that I have this practice to turn to and this practice to help replenish me and light the way. So thank you for joining me. If you find these practices helpful, if it's your first time visiting and you want to see more, please don't forget to hit subscribe, and then it will populate for you anytime I do a new video, which approximately will be about once a week on Sundays. I'm going to continue to aim towards that. So please unroll your mat, join me, and get comfortable. We're going to start seated. And as you come to sitting, it can either be on your mat, on a cushion, or even in a chair. Today's practice will be a flow practice and beginner friendly, I believe. Always do what you can and modify as needed. Take a break when necessary. As always, if you're not sure if it's right for you, don't do it. Closing your eyes. Making some last minute minor adjustments for your seat to allow your spine to feel dignified and your heart to feel lifted. Start to feel the connection to your breath. And this is it, simply feeling the breath right now. I've been breathing all day, but I can honestly say that I don't know that I've paid much attention to it. And when I pay attention to the rhythm of my breath, it allows me to start to turn inwards. Inviting you to establish your intention for this practice, not to cause you tension, but to understand what is it that brought you to the mat today? What is it you'd like to receive and share? Acknowledging that, breathing into that. Almost like you're breathing oxygen into that intention. Giving it life, feeding it possibility. And if you haven't paid attention to the full rhythm of your breath, I invite you to do so as I play the bowl. And bringing you right into this moment. Continue to stay with the breath, just feeling it, being present. And if you find it helpful to center, listening and tuning into the sound of the bowl. Take a deep, conscious breath in through your nose. And feel it ease out of the body and carrying away tension. Let's start with some gentle movement and coordination with breath. On the inhalation, take your arms out wide, reach up. Feel the expansion of the ribs. And exhale, draw down through center. Navel to spine. Inhale, breath wide in the body, reach up. Exhale down through center. Continue with that motion. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, expansion. Exhale, release tension. Last time, inhale, spread those arms wide, reach up. And this time, as you reach up, let your arms stay here, soften shoulders slightly. Keep the weight distributed between your sitting bones and your tailbone. Maybe separate your arms slightly wider if that causes any pinching in your shoulders. Adjust accordingly. Let the base of your rib cage slightly tilt up. Bend your elbows, open up a little more. Shining your heart to the sky. Draw your shoulder blades towards each other just a little bit. Remembering that nothing has to be 100%, always balancing that ease with the effort. Bring the shoulders back over the hips and bringing your palms forward, lengthening your arms in front of you. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, arms out wide. Come to shoulder height. Release your right palm to face down. Left palm stays reaching up. Inhale, sweep the arm up to the sky, bending into the right elbow. Look down towards that right hand. Press into the earth. Inhale, come all the way up. Switch sides, let it be fluid. Pressing the earth away. Inhale. And exhale. Always adjusting, modifying, backing off, going quicker, going slower, whatever's right for you, but do it in concert with your breath, like a well-orchestrated symphony. And you are the conductor. This is your music. How would you like to play it? A couple more times. I already feel better coming to the mat. And releasing both hands down. Once again, bring both arms to shoulder height. Rotate palms up. Inhale, reach up. Fingertips to touch. Exhale, hands down to heart center. Draw the elbows closer together. Let's wrap that right arm underneath the left, maybe like this, or continue to bring the backs of your hands together. A little bit of up and down motion, tilting your rib cage as you do so. Inviting a little bit of back bend. Slowly warming up the spine. Back to center, inhale, arms out wide. This time it'll be your left arm that weaves under, right elbow on top. And continue again, gentle lifting up and down. And I'm practicing Ujjayi Pranayama today. You may do that as well. That slight tightening in the back of the throat, feeling that HA sound as you breathe. Back to center, inhale, arms out wide. Let's bring those hands, let's touch them down to the floor. Lift your chest a little bit. So you're getting a little bit more of a back bend here from a little bit lower in your spine, and then taking that all the way up Gentle, just a gentle curvature here. Coming back to center. Very nice. Let's unravel. Bring those feet in front of you, about hip distance apart. We'll do some seated cow and cats. Hands can be behind the thighs. As you exhale, rounding out the spine, navel to spine. As you inhale, rolling slightly forward on the sitting bones, lifting the chest. Again, just moving back and forth from spinal flexion and extension. Inhaling as you open, coming into that back bend, and exhaling as you round and curve the heart forward. Beautiful. Once more in each direction. You can have your hands on your shins too, of course. And coming back to that neutral spine, let's bring the soles of our feet together. Let those knees open up wide. You can always use blocks underneath or in any place throughout this practice. And we're not bouncing here, just maybe, but walk your sitting bones maybe a little more forward if that's available. And then become still. Keep the chest open, the breath fluid. Most important is to stay closely married to your breath. Belly expands as you breathe in and contracts as you breathe out. Once more. Maybe help those knees together or bring them together independently. Extending your left foot forward. Take that right foot, crossing it over the left knee. Take your hands on your shin. Inhale, get tall. Notice the position of my left foot, toes pointing to the sky. Inhale, and this time we're actually going to open into that space. So we're going to rotate to the left. So as you inhale, get tall. And as you exhale, begin to open up to the left. Bring your left hand behind you, maybe staying on the tips of your fingers. And always finding length through your spine before you find the rotation. Let me take another deep breath in and exhale, revolve. Again, it doesn't have to be 100%, maybe 50%. We'll stay for about 5 to 7 breaths. Maybe wrapping that left arm around the low back instead. Let's draw that chest back to center on the in-breath. And now releasing that leg, taking that to the other side. Right leg on the ground, left foot crosses at the knee. Inhale, get tall. Hold that left knee with the left arm. And on that exhalation, as the breath leaves the body, begin to rotate over to the right. Notice any time throughout this practice, if you find that your breath catches or you're holding your breath, that is your body telling you that your mind wants you to go too far. Listen to your body. It can be slightly uncomfortable, but is never meant to be painful. And you're not here to prove anything to anyone. Inhale back to center. And now we'll do our spinal twist in the more traditional position. So crossing right ankle over left, hands come to the shins, take a deep breath in. And on the exhalation, drawing your left shoulder towards that inner right knee, hold in nice and close. Inhale, and on the exhalation, looking over the right shoulder. You can continue holding that thigh with both hands. Maybe the right fingers come behind you like a kickstand, or wrap the right arm around the low back. Remembering the inhalation to get tall, and the exhalation to revolve. Feel that right shoulder blade come towards your spine. Inhale back to center, switch sides. Using the in-breath to accentuate the length in your spine, and the out-breath to find your rotation. 5 to 7 breaths here. Inhaling for length, for distance between your vertebrae. Exhaling for decompression. And although it is said that this helps with wringing out the liver, there is no scientific evidence of that, but if you feel that's helpful, then whatever works for you. Of course, the liver is on our right side of our body, so inhale back to center. Let both legs come forward. Can always bend your knees, especially if lengthening them causes you to round your back. I'd rather see you bend your knees. Maybe this is the extent of your forward fold, or work to whatever is available. You can wrap your arms underneath. It's okay, we're rounding here a little bit. Remembering that our postures where we're stretching is meant to be a feeling, a sensation, but no pain, no force, gentle coaxing of the body. I'm going to hang out here for a little bit longer, so maybe as the body adjusts, you might find that it starts to ease into more depth. But if you find that it starts to grip, that means you've gone too far, and I encourage you to back up just a little bit, and then your body will respond more agreeably. Coming back up to center. Let's come onto our hands and our knees. Kind of like a cat-like grip on your mat. I'm just going to sashay those hips a little side to side. Kind of like I'm wagging my tail. There will not be any dogs in this practice. They're upstairs today. Toes tucked under. Exhale, draw the sitting bones back. Maybe walk the hands a little more forward so that the ears rest in the space between those upper arms. Slight gripping to the mat. Find the breath moving all the way down to your tailbone. Inhale all the way down. Exhale, navel to spine, up and out. Preparing to come into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Make sure that the fingers are gripping, kind of like you're kind of cupping the mat with your palms, knuckles in contact with the earth. The toes tucked under, begin to elevate your sitting bones through the strength of your legs and your arms. And although we work on bringing the ears in between the arms, we don't want to surpass the inner edges of the arms. That means you're probably taxing your shoulders too much. So let's think about our alignment here. So it might be that your head is forward of your upper arms, depending on your range of motion. You might be able to bring it into the space between the arms, but let's not surpass that. Let's just slowly pedal the heels. I don't know about you, but my calves are feeling pretty tight. And today my shoulders feel a little tight, so I'm going to walk my hands like kind of just a few millimeters over and slightly open my hands. That just feels better for my shoulders. Some freedom here. Let's switch, draw the left ankle down or left heel down, avoiding that bending of the elbows if possible. Inhale, both heels rise, feet about hip distance apart, and exhale, keeping those ears between the arms. Begin to lower the heels down to the ground, navel to spine, pelvic floor in and up. Engage your quadriceps. Find your breath. Begin to walk your feet towards your hands, deepening our forward fold. Inhale, look up, and exhale, fold forward. Remember, you want to feel the sensation through the belly of the muscle. You don't really, it's not good to be able feeling it through the backs of the knees or up near your sitting bones. And definitely you don't want to aggravate your back. Bend your knees as necessary. I find bending my knees, though, moves that sensation into the insertion or the origin point of my hamstrings. So I'm going to just keep my legs straight, my quadriceps active. And on that in-breath, looking up slightly like you're looking to the horizon, keeping the navel intact, extend your right leg back. So it's about hip height. And check to see what's going on with that foot. See if it's lazy. If it is, bring your baby toe and your big toe to pointing down evenly. So sometimes people kind of rotate the outer part of their foot out. So just take attention, look towards it, and see that that foot is flat. Let's switch sides, bending the right knee, plant that foot, extend the left leg back, no higher than your hip. Again, paying attention to the position of that left foot. Big toe, baby toe points to the ground. Engaging right quadricep, engaging left quadricep. And bending that knee, releasing that down. Now exhale to fold, maybe a little deeper this time, maybe not. Looking back up to the horizon on the in-breath, reaching that right leg back behind you once again. Keeping those left fingers on the floor, begin to pivot that right foot open. So you're now stacking your right hip over your left and slowly, slowly elevating your right fingers to the sky, half moon pose. Let's release that right hand down and right foot down. Same thing, other side. Inhale, letting the left leg come to parallel. Right fingers on the ground, pivoting left hip open. Keeping that left leg very active. Opening the chest wide. Releasing right fingers down and left fingers down, left foot down. Maybe on the exhalation, folding a little deeper. We've really worked those hamstrings, so you might find that they've opened up a little bit more.
And prepare to come back into downward facing dog, walking those hands forward, spread your fingers wide, walking your feet back, coming into that upside down V. Inhale, right leg to rise. Firm up the muscles in the arms. Begin to bend your right knee. Bring that heel towards your left glute. Opening up that hip. Keep the weight relatively evenly distributed between your arms and engage your left quadricep. Feel the left heel lowering down to the ground. Square off your pelvis. Shift your shoulders over your wrists. Draw your knee forward into your chest. Maybe dome out a little bit. Press into the earth. Look toward your knee. Inhale, reach that right leg up to the sky. And exhale, release it down. Inhale, left leg to rise. Weight evenly distributed between your hands, bending the left knee. Draw the heel towards the glute. Opening that knee. Pressing right heel to the ground. Left foot active. Maybe pressing your armpits down a little bit more. Square off the pelvis. Feel that move right into the hamstring as you do that. Draw the shoulders over the wrists. Draw the knee into the chest. Look towards the knee. Inhale, left leg to rise. Exhale, release it down. Come down onto your knees into child's pose if you'd like a little bit of a break. Or stay in downward facing dog for 5 breaths. You choose. Remember, in downward dog, those kneecaps are lifted. The arms are strong, navel to spine, pelvic floor lifted. If you're in child's pose, come back up into downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg to rise. Exhale, knee into chest and shoulders over wrists, just like before. Now take that foot and plant it on the floor. Lower your left knee to the ground. Let those hips come forward. Lift your heart. So it's getting into the front of that left hip. Let's keep the left fingers on the ground. Keep that right knee stacking over the right hip. Pivot your chest towards the inside edge of that right leg. Maybe open up your right arm. Keep that right knee hugging in. And let's just take that right arm and wrap it around our low back. Maybe open a little more. I'm really hoping my microphone is working. Taking a look down to the ground, plant the hand, step that right foot back into downward, 3-legged downward dog, and then release it to the ground. Inhale, left leg to rise, getting length from your wrist to your heel. Tack that left hip down a little more. Feel that move into your right hamstring, right quadricep, right calf. And as you exhale, draw the knee into the chest, shift shoulders over wrists. Press the hands into the earth, the back of the ribs to the sky a little bit more. Feel that move into the abdomen. And plant the left foot on the ground. Lower the right knee. Let those hips shift forward. Check the knee over that left ankle. Breathe here. Right hand stays underneath that shoulder. Keep that left knee hugging in. Rotate your chest to the inner edge of that left knee. Maybe sweeping the left arm up. Draw left shoulder blade towards the right. Maybe gazing up to the sky. Continue hugging that left inner knee in towards midline. And for a few breaths, wrapping that left arm around the low back. Maybe deepening that spinal twist a little bit lower in the spine. Again, only if it's beneficial for you. And looking down to the floor. Stepping back into downward facing dog. Let's take those feet towards the width of your mat. So lining up the outer edges of your feet with the mat. Inhale, and as you exhale, draw the sitting bones back in space. Engage your quadriceps, lower the heels towards the ground. Just looking towards the space between your knees. Let your hips shift slightly to the right. Now slightly to the left. And back to center and lower your knees to the floor. Let's draw the big toes together. Sitting bones back towards the heels. Feel that move, that stretch into the low back. Soften the shoulders, soften the elbows. Breathe here. Child's pose, Balasana. You might find it helpful to rest your hands on your low back. Let your hands find the earth and let them help sit you up. Coming into kneeling. And from kneeling, let's tuck the toes under, keeping the shoulders and the hips and the knees in relatively the same line. Inhale, reaching the right arm up to the sky. Keeping the abdominals contained. Come into a little bit of a back bend. You can keep your left hand on your low back. My pelvic floor is continuing to lift. My glutes are engaged here. And come back up through center. Release that arm down. Let's switch sides. Right hand on the low back. Belly engaged. Knee, ankles, and chest in line. Inhale, left arm up. And again, coming into a back bend. Abdominal support, glutes active. Inhale back through center, planting both hands on the low back. Draw the inner edges of the elbows together. Lift your chest on the in-breath. Again, still keeping the abdominals turned on and the glutes turned on. Maybe entering a little bit deeper into your back bend. Maybe, if it's available, coming on to your heels into full camel pose. I'm drawing a blank, but I think this is Ustrasana, but I could be wrong. My glutes are absolutely engaged here to help protect my back. And coming back up through center. And lengthening the fronts of the ankles down the floor, lowering the sitting bones down to the heels. A couple of breaths here. Just opening up the ankles very gently. If you need to come out of this, we are going to continue to go a little bit deeper in this, but if you need to come out of it, do so. Maybe just bring your hands forward as necessary. Maybe wiggle out your toes and then join us again. So see if we can nestle the sitting bones in between the heels.
And perhaps go deeper if it's available. Maybe walk your fingers back. Maybe come down onto your forearms. Continuing to stretch the knees down to the ground, getting a nice stretch here through the quadriceps, the front of your thighs. Sometimes we do this with a focus on stretching out the ankles, in which case we would lift the knees. So just notice how that's a different stretch and how that accesses the tissue in the front of the ankles. But if we focus on drawing the knees down, pressing them into the floor and lifting the hips slightly, how that moves into the quadricep regions of the left and the right leg. And some of you will be able to move a little bit lower here. You can rest on bolsters if you like. You can lower the back all the way down to the ground. I'm continuing to focus on drawing my kneecaps to the earth. And some of you may be lengthening your arms to really accentuate distances between your ribs and access breath. For me, this is a posture that just sort of signifies freedom of breath and openness. And for others, it can kind of feel a little bit torturous. So always modify, take your variations, remembering the cues of easeful and steady, and being able to breathe evenly. Couple more breaths. And using your hands either on your ankles or on the floor, beginning to press back up. And bring your hands forward. Let's come into downward facing dog for a couple of breaths. Ensure that you're continuing to stay close to your breath, that you're feeling it weave its magic through your body to settle your mind, to be present in this moment. And lowering the knees down once again. Just focusing a little bit more on our abdominals, shoulders and wrists in alignment. And focusing here on drawing the navel to the spine, just gazing down to the floor without dropping the head or reaching it up, so keeping it in line with your spine. Press your fingertips into the ground. Keep the pelvic floor pulled up towards the inner body, navel to the spine. And now just press your rib cage towards the sky a little bit more. And feel your abdominals kick in. It's a slight movement, but very effective, and making sure you're continuing to breathe. Using the abdominal muscles against gravity. And if you'd like a little bit more, peel your knees a little bit off the ground. This should be really kicking in right now. It doesn't look like much, but and release those knees down. Extending your left leg back. Right arm alongside the right ear. Continuing to focus on keeping the abdominals strong. Let's lift that left leg to hip height. And if it's too much, you can keep your hands on the ground. And this is beautiful too. You'll still feel this in your abdominals. Those core stabilizing muscles that we need to access every day, all day long. Bending that knee, release down. Let's do the other side. Extend the left arm forward first. Right leg back. Let that heel come to hip height. Press the rib cage to the sky a little bit more. Navel to spine. Remember, you can always release your left hand to the ground. And just ensure that that right hip isn't popping up. We want to keep that pelvis level. And focusing on working against the draw of gravity here through your belly. And release down. Take those knees towards the width of the mat.
Big toes to touch but not crossing, draw back. Let that belly find that space between your thighs, and just notice that release here in the abdominals and the back, softening here. Coming back up, this time staying on your forearms, keeping those elbows shoulder distance apart. Interlacing your hands or letting the palms come down to the ground. I like to interlace. Knees coming hip distance apart. And before you lift the knees, engage your abdominals, keeping those shoulders over the elbows. Begin to peel your knees off of the ground and shift your weight slightly, just ever so slightly forward, and press again your back ribs towards the sky. Just gazing down past your nose. Engage your quadriceps. Engage your lower belly. Now make sure you're not up in a teepee. You'll miss the sensation through your abdominals. You don't want to look like this. Instead, come more into a plank position. Engage quadriceps. Engage glutes. Look down past your nose. Hug the navel up towards the sky. You want to make sure you're not dropping down into the space between your shoulder blades, but instead accentuating that by pressing it up to the sky a little bit. You can do it. Keep going. And release the knees. Bring the belly all the way down to the ground. Bring your arms alongside your body. Let your heels flop open, backs of the hands to the ground, palms to the sky. Rest your right ear. Switch sides, please. Left ear to the ground. And then rolling over onto your left side. Supporting that left ear, the head with your left arm, or folding that arm under. Let's bring that right foot and bring it in front of the left thigh. Trying to work here with the microphone's a little bit in the way. So that right knee, let's point it actively to the sky. Keep the sole of the right foot on the ground. And let's lift, engaging that left leg, engaging your core. Lift that left leg off the floor slightly. Maybe lift your left thigh up even more. And release it down. Bending that left, remove that foot. Bend your left knee, bend your right knee. So the knees are forward of the body. And let's let that right knee open up away from the left. Again, doesn't look like much, but you're going to start to feel this. Let your right glute be active. And then we're going to lower and raise, kind of like a clam, a few times. Slow and controlled. And what makes it yoga is that union, that yoke with your breath. Present moment. Notice the glute muscles here. And release that down. Nice. So you're just going to roll over onto your right side. I'm going to flip over so that I'm facing the camera. Left arm underneath. Left leg along the ground. Right foot in front. So keep that left knee pointing to the sky, sole of the left foot pressing down into the ground. And as you do that, you'll feel those inner thigh muscles. Let your right foot, again, kind of like you're pressing it into something, so it's nice and strong. And let that right foot lift off the ground. Keep your abdominals strong. Maybe lift that right foot a little higher. Feeling the strength of those adductor muscles, those inner thigh muscles. And release that down. Bend your knees. Stack your ankles and your knees. Coming into that clam-like motion. Engage your left glute. Let it lift your left knee up and stay here and breathe. And then start that slow but intentional movement, squeezing. As you exhale, squeezing the abdominals, squeeze those inner thighs. Inhale to open. Coordinate the movement with your breath. And one more. Inhale. And exhale. Nice. Move back over onto your belly. And as you slide your elbows forward underneath your shoulders, palms facing down, spread your fingers. Take a look at feel, into the distance of your feet. You want this to not feel pinchy, but at the same time supportive. So maybe for you, it means bringing your feet a little closer. Maybe for you, it means taking them further apart. For me, I like to bring them about hip width, maybe slightly closer. Pressing those forearms into the ground. Inhale, letting that curve of the spine be really just kind of smooth. So you don't want any sharp edges. And the tops of my feet are pressing down onto the ground to activate the quadriceps and the glutes. And it's like you're trying to draw the mat towards you to open the chest and feel your navel work away from your mat. So we're strengthening the back here. Strengthening abdominals, opening the front of the hips slightly. Now soften the legs a little bit, soften the glutes a little bit, and if it's available, come into a little bit deeper cobra pose. Soften the tension in the shoulders. Keep the abdominals turned on, the glutes active. Breathing here. 10 toenails on the ground. Feel free to come back down onto your elbows or maybe come into a deeper back bend as long as it's smooth in the curvature of your spine. Opening through the throat, elbows hugging in close towards the body. And then slowly, slowly layering the body down to the ground. Pause for a moment, take a breath, relax. And inhale, coming back onto your forearms. And on the exhalation, take a look over your left shoulder. Breathe here. Switch sides, inhale, center, and exhale, look over your right shoulder.
Inhale back to center. Exhale, lowering the belly back down to the ground. And then pressing with those hands underneath the shoulders or slightly back, so you're kind of at a 90-degree angle. Tuck your toes under. And either coming onto your, let's all come onto our knees, press up, and then come back into tabletop. From tabletop, let's massage the spine here with some cow and cats. Exhaling as you look towards your navel. Inhaling. Pelvis tilts forward, chest shines forward, open the throat. Find your own movement and rhythm here. Maybe even softening the elbows as the heart comes forward. Let it be really smooth. Kind of like a thread being pulled through butter. Back to center. Let's come to seated once again. And I'm going to use my bolster. You can cross your legs if you like. You can bring the soles of your feet together again, whatever's comfortable here, so you can turn your gaze inward as we did at the beginning of the practice. Notice that the mind feels more settled, more cooperative. Release any controlled breathing. Shift your awareness into the space above your head. Just slightly above the head, about 6 to 8 inches. Palms can rest facing down or up. I'm going to choose to have mine up. I feel that that opens my chest both physically and energetically to be receptive to whatever the universe has to offer. And as your awareness shifts into that space just above the crown, that area in yoga that we refer to as Sahasrara, you're not trying to do anything here. Now that you've shifted the awareness there, your internal gaze may even be in that direction. Allowing for the possibility of connection between yourself and something more. Like an open conduit. Allowing for a sense of expansion. Knowing that although we may feel separate from, because of this body in which we inhabit, as we enter into that space beyond the crown, we can come to the realization that none of us are separate. We're all connected. And there is a sense of boundless space. And that boundless space, its essence is love. Allow yourself to be bathed in this essence. Your practice has allowed you to be, it's like a tuning fork, aligning with the frequency of universal connection. Whose fragrance is love. I invite you to come back into the awareness, the location of the awareness in that space just beyond the crown. And then traveling down into the physical form, into the area of your heart. Reconnecting to the intention that you established at the beginning of this practice. And know that somehow your practice has helped to support that, to align with that. Taking your left hand and placing it on the center of your chest, and the right hand on top. Feel the breath moving in your body, the chest gently rising and falling. Maybe even feeling the beating of the heart. And although it may feel sometimes as if our bodies are failing us, be thankful for what your body was able to give you today. Its participation in your practice, how it has allowed you to connect. And using your mind, I invite you to visualize yourself sitting in front of you. And visualize yourself as healthy, happy, and at ease. A smile on your face. And a sense of a glow around you. and allow yourself to embody that. Mm. Thank you for meeting me on the mat today. We did not include Shavasana in this practice. If you feel like that is still required, then please take the next 5 minutes or so and lay your body down on the mat in quiet. Or maybe you feel inspired to continue to meditate. Whatever calls to your soul right now, offer this to yourself. Again, thank you for joining me. I hope to practice with you again soon. Thanks for practicing and joining me on Yoga with Cheryl. Until next time, may you be well. Take care of yourself. Bye for now.